Welcome back to Insightful Hypocrites, episode 3.
Hello.
This is the podcast where...
Restart.
Why?
Just cause.
Welcome back to Insightful Hypocrites.
Nope, take three. Time out. I'm gonna give you the action.
Welcome back to Insightful Hypocrites, episode 3. This is the podcast where it's messed up on Spotify every week.
Every single week.
Oh, man, they are hard to deal with.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. It's week 3.
It's been an alright week for me.
Oh, man.
Went back to Chicago Wednesday. Put together that collab that I did post a picture of on Instagram. It's not available yet, but the collab is awesome, and it will be available in probably 2 weeks, I'd say.
Go check out the picture. It looks awesome.
It's gonna be gnarly. It is our most liked picture on it. It's like doing, I think it said 95% better than all the other posts. Took off immediately.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking shirt.
So go check out that. It's going to be the Portal Blueprint shirt. That's sick with our buddies Label.
Yeah, check out Label stuff. Amazing job.
And they are down to be on the podcast, like as soon as we can do it. They're down to hop on.
Mic.
Yeah.
I'm so down for that.
One of the things I wrote down I already told you about was getting beat up in my sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like one day last week, I woke up with a split lip. No idea how. And then
was that from being dry?
I don't know. Like, I've never had to use chapstick in my life.
That's weird. I use chapstick daily.
I've used it once, I think.
I have a stick of chapstick right next to my bed.
I remember
just lather myself up right before bed.
One time we were heading to Chicago, and you're like, turn around, we gotta go back. I forgot my chapstick.
Seriously. It's the worst. Have you ever had really chapped lips? And you're just like sitting there thinking the whole time, trying not to lick them? It hurts so bad. It's like...
See, no. I've never really... I don't have that problem.
I don't have a real strong grasp on self-control, so I just continue...
The split lip hurt, though.
Continue to lick them. Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Like, I drank strawberry lemonade Propel that day, and it burnt every drink.
Very specific. I drink strawberry.
I drink Propel every day. Yeah, there's a watermelon one right here.
I'm not a Propel in forever.
Oh, but anyway, getting beat up in my sleep. Like, 2 days later, I woke up, and I had, like, a puffy eye. Like, I got punched in the face.
I farted in it.
I have no idea what happened, but I think I'm getting beat up at night.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you having fighting dreams?
I don't remember any dreams if I have them. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm. That's weird. I dream all the time. We talked about dreams. Dreams are interesting.
Paranormal experiences.
My house is haunted. Well, it used to be haunted. I don't know. I feel like it's been getting not re-haunted, but as in, I don't know. Maybe it's in our head, too, because we look for it. I told you that story, right? The story of my house being...
I don't know. I don't really believe in ghosts.
Well, because you don't hang out at my house very often.
I've had some weird stuff happen here, but I just counteract it.
All right, so here's the story of my house. Because mine, you always hear people say, like, my house is haunted, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other day, I heard a creak. My house was exorcised by a priest. So it was, like, real haunted. I don't know if that makes it real haunted or us real paranoid, but no, the story is that my great aunt, my Aunt May, she built the house in like the 40s or 50s as like, she's a single lady and in like her late 60s, mid 60s. So she just designed the house perfect for a single lady at that time. You know what I mean? Like as good as you can get, like ranch style house, only 2 stories, 1 story in a basement. And she designed it herself, got it all built, paid for it herself, and then died right when it got finished. So she never got to live in it.
Bummer.
She never got to live in it. So my grandpa ended up buying it, and then he moved in with... Because I actually live in the same... We talked about this. I live in the same house that my mom grew up in. And so when they lived in it when they were younger, they would always talk about Aunt May. And then we moved back into it, so...
Wait, did she pass in the house?
I don't think so.
Oh.
But no.
Okay.
So it's more just like, I think that she wanted, to live in the house, so she stayed or whatever. But I remember, so I was born in Decatur, and then we moved up here when I was 3. And so it got exercised when I was like 8 or 9. And I remember a couple things before that. I remember it stole my fucking holographic, whatever Charmander turns into. Charizard? Is that the big one? Remember Pokemon?
I never really messed with it.
Well, I had this holographic badass one. Really rare card. Whatever it was. I set it on the table. And that bastard ghost stole that card. I swear to God. She was just trying to fuck with me. But anyway, the reason I got exercised, I remember my neighbor, Matt. He wasn't even that much older than me, but we live in that little bumfuck town. So my mom just invited him over to watch me. She had to run some errands or whatever during the day. My dad had to go to work. It was during the summer, and so it's just like come hang out for a little bit. And remember, he came over in the morning, and then we were like around lunch, 11 o'clock. We're like, what do we want to eat? And he was only like 12 probably, and I was, I don't know, 7 or something. 7 or 6. We put a fucking frozen pizza in the oven and then forgot it. You ever done that thing when you're drunk and you forget it and it just turns into black char, that's smoking?
We did that at Ivy one night, left a pizza all night.
And so we did that in my oven and it was smoking so bad. Like we had to get it out with tongs and throw it in the yard and spray with the hose because it was smoking so bad. And the whole house is filled with smoke and fire alarms are going off. So we open all the windows and we air it out. And we're like, shit, like what do we eat? So we go back in the living room and I remember we're just sitting there watching cartoons or something. And all of a sudden from the basement, so my living room upstairs, you know where that's at. From the basement under us, it just sounds like someone's down there just like rummaging through the shelves, like knocking shit off. And the thing that I distinctly remember is the sound of shattering glass. Just like over and over again, shattering glass, like someone was throwing plates. Or
I got
just
goosebumps.
It was freaky. And I remember, so we're just little kids. And so we freaked out. So we tried to grab weapons. I remember, so I grabbed a hot dog sticker, like you cook hot dogs or s'mores over a fire, and he grabbed a kitchen knife and we ran to the top of the stairs and we just yelled like, hey, who's down there? Stop. And it just stopped. And obviously we've seen any horror movie, we don't go downstairs. So we're like, okay, what the fuck? We go back and we sit in the living room and we're freaking out and it starts up again, just like shattering glass, like sounds like stuff's being thrown off shelves. So we just book it. We get so scared, we just run. We went to like 2 blocks away to like another kid in town's grandma and then called my parents from there.
At that point, you thought someone was still in the house.
We called my parents. We're like, someone's robbing the house. Like, you guys have to come here. So they came home. They booked home. And I remember they got home. They come and pick us up from Shirley's to the grandma. And they take us back. And my dad and mom go downstairs. And there's literally nothing moved. Dude, nothing insane. Is out of place. And I didn't realize it till I was a lot older. But I was telling our friend Jenna and her mom, Jenna, about this story. And her mom just looks at me and she goes, you know what that was, right? And I was like, no. And she goes, that had to be because your Aunt May was mad that you guys were going to burn down her house. Or she thought that these 2 kids were going to burn down her house. So that was her way of showing how pissed off she was that we were about to destroy the thing that she loved.
I got goosebumps again.
Right? Isn't that freaky? So yeah, we've had it exercised, and that was when I was younger. And it kind of went away for a while, but you'd still hear just like weird. I remember toilets would flush. You hear the fridge open and close. Just like stuff, lights would go on and off. Little stuff like that, like stuff would go missing. So it kind of stopped for a while, but lately I've been hearing a lot more stuff. And Nate, he'll say that he notices that down there too.
I got a Ouija board. You want to take it?
I do not want a Ouija board.
I got a Ouija board down there.
No, that sounds like... why even try to... I don't even believe it, but it's one of those things like, I don't believe that it works. But if it does, why do I want to potentially be talking to a demon? You know what I mean? Like, just another thing. I've seen horror movies.
They're not real. Ouija boards don't...
No, you're moving it with your hand.
Yeah.
But if it does, and next thing I know, I'm talking to some demon, and then he's inside of me, I don't want that.
I think you've seen too many movies.
Yeah. That's why I didn't go downstairs. That's why I'm still alive. That's why I'm still alive. No, I think ghosts are real. I don't know if ghosts, like people think of them, but there's definitely energies or something. Because I think it's weird. It's like everything that we know now, and we built like this very scientific approach to looking and thinking about everything. So if you can't prove it, it obviously, or you can't see it and test it if it's not observable and researchable and what's the word I'm looking for? If you can't duplicate the results of your observations or your tests, you know what I mean, then it doesn't exist or it's not real, which is awesome. And that works in so many good ways. It helps to make sure that we're being honest and we're approaching observations and we're, improving in a way that makes sense and not just building off bullshit. But when you do that and we establish a foundation that only can look at things a certain way, I think it automatically shuts off the possibility to things that are outside that realm. So all the stuff that kind of seems foo-foo-y now, or like pseudoscience. Fugazi. Yeah. It's that stuff that's like hippie energy type healing stuff, or whatever you want to get in with crystals or energy healing and Reiki or all that kind of stuff that my mom's super into it and I'm kind of into it too. It's just like they talk about the stuff that's around you all the time that we just can't perceive. So like Joe Rogan uses this funny example in one of his podcasts. He says it's like, imagine no one had noses and we were just walking around farting. It's like no one would know farts stink. Like you'd know that you farted, but you wouldn't know that fart was a stinky gas bubble that was there until like the first person had the nose. And they're like, holy crap, like that's terrible. But it was there the whole time. We just didn't have the ability to perceive it. You know what I mean? So there's this other really awesome movie, back to movies you should watch. It's called I Origins. And so the premise of this movie...
Never heard of it.
The premise of this movie is there's a scientist and he's trying to He's trying to find the link in evolution, basically to disprove the existence of God. So when you look at evolutionist theory, there's kind of these like gaps in steps of they understand, all right, we evolved from this single-celled organism and it happened in this sort of way, you know what I mean? But they can't really tell you exactly what organism existed or what link happened to get us from this step to this step, you know what I mean? And so one of the biggest ones that they have, really like Christian devout Bible thumper type people who argue against evolution use the eye, because there's no real link for the eye. Like, where did the eye come from? From these organisms that are existing and functioning in the environment, but they never had the ability to see. So that's like a cellular process. It's just a jump that they don't understand. How do you go from this to being able to see complex images, you know what I mean, and then react to that? Well, this scientist in the movie, he's trying to find that link. And so he's got this super banging girlfriend who's like this hippie chick, and she's super into energies and all this healing stuff. And so the scientist and his partner, in order to prove it, they find this worm that they think's the link, and then what they're going to do is develop an eye on the worm, right? And so this guy, because he's a scientist, obviously does not believe in God or any of the energies, because he's trying to disprove it. You know, he doesn't believe in anything beyond what happens here. You die and then you're done. And so the hippie girlfriend asks him, she says, do you think that's okay? You know, you're going to give this worm the ability to see. Now you imagine this worm has lived his entire existence, not only his existence, but his species has lived their entire existence, being able to perceive the world only in one way. So not only does their world exist in one way, all of everything exists in one way, not only without sight, without even the ability to comprehend that sight is possible. You know what I mean? That there is physical form in that way. To them, it's just this, not even dark world, because the ability to see darkness only comes from understanding that there's light. You know what I mean? So that's just like something that doesn't exist in them. And so they give this worm this ability to see, not to see like we see, but to pick up light. So it only has a pigment that picks up light. And the girlfriend says to the scientist, she says, no, what you just did was shattered that worm's entire world. His entire existence is now different. Everything that he's ever known, everything that he's ever thought to be true, everything that he built off of the truths that he thought he knew are gone. They're washed away because you just introduced him to something that was right in front of him the entire time. It was all around him. It controlled his existence. It was as much a part of him as anything else. He just didn't realize it was there because he did not have the ability to perceive light, to perceive sight. So what is that worm's world now? Obviously it's a fucking worm, so he's not that, he doesn't comprehend or perceive that well.
He went back to his worm buddies and was like, you're not going to believe what just happened.
You're not going to believe what I'm looking at, guys. You're not going to believe what I'm looking at. And they're like, looking at. But so she says to him, she's like, now what if I gave you that same ability? I gave you a new ability, a new sense to pick up the spiritual world, the energies, that stuff that you hear those people, I don't know, mediums. I don't really believe in mediums and all that stuff, but people who perceive energies and see auras and stuff. And she says, what if I gave you the ability to see that thing that's all around you right now, like light was all around the worm? It's been there the whole fucking time. But your entire existence, your entire way of thinking about the world and perceiving the world will be shattered because I just gave you the ability to perceive this thing that you've tried your entire life to disprove. You've tried your entire life to disprove there's any energy, anything beyond the physical world. And now I give you the ability to perceive what's right in front of your face the entire time.
Is that why they called that movie The Sixth Sense? Or Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's mind-blowing now. Mm-hmm. If you could have the Sixth Sense, would you?
I said yeah, like complete confidence. Like I've met with him and we sat down, and I was like, hey, where'd this title
And I
come?
just took it like it was 100% accurate.
I
like
assume. I mean, it's fairly safe.
It makes sense.
It's a fairly safe assumption. That's the reason why.
Now that I just heard that, that makes sense.
I know there's people now who claim to see auras and pick up energies and I don't know whether you see in the future, the past, or whatever small increments. I think there's definitely something here that we just have either lost touch with the ability to understand or have not yet developed the ability to understand. We're stuck in this third dimensional existence. We're stuck to this physical world that we right now are unable to perceive those energies or time or whatever that's still right here in front of us, like smell, like that fart would be, or like light is for that worm, but
like a new like Sixth Sense. What do you think a fourth dimension would be?
I think the fourth dimension has to do with time. So
I feel like it would be like a portal.
So a fourth dimensional being, I'm pretty sure,
I mean,
perceives their life.
I always think of it in like travel form.
Well, see, it's hard because it wouldn't be like travel. It'd be like that they see the beginning and the end of their life as in like a timeline, and they're in the middle of it, but they can always
jump back and forth.
Yeah, it's like time isn't linear in that dimension like it is for us.
It's weird. I was thinking of it like because I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I was thinking of it like he put it in travel ways. Like there's the like third dimensional travel where there's like bridges and underpasses, overpasses, subways, stuff like that. But like, what would fourth dimensional travel look like?
It's like it's something we can't even try to explain because we can't comprehend it.
We can't comprehend it.
It's beyond our ability to even start to be able to fathom. It's like infinity. Like you understand what infinity is. Like physicists, you can understand, and you can even kind of explain it. You can kind of understand how fourth dimensional stuff works. You can kind of understand infinity. You understand the concept.
Well, yeah.
But the idea of not really having a beginning or end it's unfathomable to the human mind when you really think about it like that, because we view everything as start to finish.
It's like thinking of space and like the galaxies and universe. Like, what the hell's out there?
It's fucking weird.
It's so cool though, so intriguing.
Well, the world's flat, you know that, and
it's
all a projection.
No, the world is not flat.
I don't get that shit. No, I don't know. It's interesting to me. I like thinking about that stuff too much, but it's hard to. It's like, how much do you want to think about something that you know you're never going to have any of the answers to? It's good to think, but you know what I mean? It's like people lose their mind trying to search for things that you can never know. You know what I mean? Like, people who sit around, I fall victim to it too much, or fall victim to it, find myself doing it too much, just like contemplating what this all means. It's good to contemplate what it means, what happens after you die, and how it's all, but at the same time, if you spend the majority of your life thinking about that, you're going to be consumed by the search for answers that you have no control over. It's going to start to control your life and steer you in a direction, or prevent you from leading the life you should be living, because you're so worried about what comes next. You're so worried about finding an answer that is impossible for you to have the answer to.
I just much rather sit around and just keep my mind busy, so I don't sit around and think about anything like that.
I think it's, what's that quote? It's everything in moderation, including moderation. Because I think you need to think about it, but you can't think about it too much. You need to keep your mind busy, but you can't just be a busy guy, a busy mind who never contemplates anything, you know what I mean? Because there's those people too. But some people at the same time, I don't think have any desire to look at the world in bigger ways. At the same time that some people overthink it, I think some people are perfectly comfortable with just coasting. Like, they just want comfort. They want to work there 40 hours a week. They want to take a drink afterwards, smoke every once in a while. They want a house, and they just want to be comfortable, and they never want to ask any questions, and they don't give a fuck. Whether it be that they either have never thought about it, they aren't smart enough to think about it, or they just don't care. But there's some people I think are just perfectly okay with being blissfully ignorant.
You gotta have those people, though.
Yeah, you do. I don't know if you got to, but you do.
No, you do to even things out. Yeah. If everyone in the world runs a business, a lot of people aren't going to be buying as much. Market isn't going to be as big.
Well, it's also, I don't know, it's one of the problems with all of how we look at our economy is so impossible to ever fix. Like, you can't ever not have poor people. And that's not when I say that sentence, that makes it sound like I'm like, well, fuck them. You know what I mean? You can't fix it. So like,
I feel like the majority of people get that too, and you can always change your situation, 100%.
It's just this thing. It's like, so in our society where we're so we're a consumeristic society. You know what I mean? So we consume, we buy. A majority of your jobs in a society that is so geared towards the acquisition of things is going to be in the service of things. You know what I mean? So you're either going to be making things or selling things or delivering things, or, you know what I mean? But any of those jobs aren't going to pay $150,000. No, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get $150,000 for working at a shoe store. You know what I mean? But they're always going to have people who work at a shoe store. And I don't know there's never going to be enough high-paying jobs for everyone to have a high-paying job. You know what I mean?
Also, there's a lot of fucking people. I don't know. We started at Ghost and ended up here.
That's how our conversations always go.
I wanted to talk
about...
What do you
think happens when you die?
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, but I don't really talk about it.
I don't, because nothing happens.
No, I told you last week that's too depressing. You really just think it's dirt?
I mean, you don't know that part. It's fucking... You're done, Jack. No, and I got facts like the back of a Snapple cap.
I agree you can't know, because I think a lot of people like to think, like, well, I won't have the answer until I die. But it's like, once you die, you won't have the answer either. Because think about it. If, when you died, you knew what came next, then that would imply that you remembered what happened before. And if there's something after this life, it'd be pretty naive to think that this was the start of it, right? It's like this. If there's something comes after it, and we have a timeline that keeps going, it'd be pretty naive and full. It'd be pretty narcissistic to think that this is the start of that entire timeline. Which means that there had to be something before this, right? But if you don't remember what came before this life, then the second that this life ends, you'll no longer remember this life. You know what I mean? Because you'll just be asking the same question in the next life. You'll be asking, what does this mean?
Don't follow
What's the point?
I feel like once you hit that, hit the point where it's lights out, you're just like, your senses are done, and then your brain's done,
you think there's nothing.
And then that's it.
No, you go somewhere. You're recycled. Your energy cannot be created or destroyed. That goes back to physics. So, like, your energy always exists. Energy always exists. You can transfer it, but it is not created or destroyed. Same with matter. What is here is here. There's some kind of, we can both agree there's some kind of electrical processes going on in your brain, right? Like there's something going on here, right? There's obviously something going on here to make this happen and function, and you to be able to think about that it's happening. So what happens? That you think all those experiences are just gone?
Yeah.
That energy? No.
Wouldn't it be cool if you can live as a ghost, though? Just run around and fuck shit up anywhere?
Well, that's what I'm saying with that sixth sense thing. How do you know that there's not things all around you? That's not just another world on top of you that's functioning just as high-paced and highly populated around you. You just can't see it. You know what I mean? Maybe there's ghosts all fucking over.
Okay. I'm going to go back into the ghost thing. Did you ever watch the video I made on my YouTube channel a while back? We went to the Witch's Circle in Peoria.
No, is it like a...
Is it like a
Wiccan thing?
It's supposed to be a haunted area. It's in a cemetery, but it's like secluded off.
I got you.
In the cemetery, secluded off by itself.
But is it something that like Wiccans go to now?
What do you mean?
Like Wiccans are modern day witches.
Oh yeah.
But
it's a spot for witch ritual.
But they get a bad name because like most of their shit isn't about magic. It's actually about like going back to the earth. There is magic stuff, but I don't know.
I'll have to show you the video if I remember afterwards. But like walking up to the thing, it's like one big, whatever they call those things. So, it's a giant headstone, is what it is. But,
oh yeah.
But
like a pointy one?
Like
an obelisk?
I don't know what it's called. And then there's a circle thing around it.
Looks
and
like the Washington Monument?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obelisk. And then there's just circle graves all the way around. And there's like a big tomb that has like some of the kids in it. I guess it was a whole big family.
So they're actual graves?
Yeah.
Are they marked?
They say things on them, and it's really old. And then the tree there, I guess a bunch of people have hung themselves from the tree that's in the middle of that thing, too.
Now, here's a question for you. So when you walk up to that, starting your story, did you feel...
Yes.
The energy?
Different. I felt it was calm, almost. Mm-hmm. Really weird.
But dark.
That was one of those times where I was like, man, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
Calm, but, did you feel dark? Like, did it feel like there was a weight? Like, kind of this...
No, it was just a weird calming feeling. Like when you got in the area, it was like the wind was kind of slowly blowing and it wasn't anywhere else. Because I was like, hey, it's a good day to fly the drone. And then I took the drone and I started flying it there and it was blowing around so bad.
I don't know.
So I brought it back down. And then there's a secluded grave even from there that goes off. That must have been someone important in that family or something. Mm-hmm. And I was walking back there recording with my phone and my phone was on 54%, I think. And it just died and wouldn't turn back on.
See, that when you hear stuff like some of it's just anecdotal.
It's weird.
It's just happenstance. It just happened, and then people like to put stuff together.
That happened, and I still don't believe in ghosts. I just kind of put coincidence to get My phone was shit. Why did it shut off at 54%? I don't know. But it did.
You walk into places sometimes without ever having... All right, so people are a better example to me. There's another movie you should watch, Cloud Atlas.
No.
Or Mr. Nobody's another good one. They're all kind of about the interconnectivity of people and energies over different lives after they reincarnate. But have you ever met someone, and without ever having met them, before they say a word, they dress normal, you know what I mean, look a normal guy, you just sense that you're not going to get along. You know what I mean? Like, that guy gives me bad vibes right away. And at the same...
80% of people.
Yeah, because you don't like that many people. But on the same time, have you ever met someone who, before they say a single word, they haven't given you any reason, there's no logical explanation for why you feel this way. You see someone and you just know, we are going to be friends. We have the same energy.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
That's how I felt, like, literally with all my buddies that I've met in Chicago. When we first meet, it's like, we're going to have such a creative connection.
And then
we just make awesome stuff.
That, to me, is evidence of some type of energy, or you're putting off some kind of connection there.
There's awful energy just because.
Whether that be from past lives,
all the time.
That you put off a nervous energy. So I don't even think you do, but you're comfortable.
How am I?
So
how am I on the outside?
I don't know. You're pretty comfortable with me.
What the fuck is this frail weird boar doing?
Frail? I would not call you frail.
I'm getting old in my olden age here.
You look solid for a frail boy.
Wait, our what podcast would that be? Like three.
There's only three other ones.
3 podcasts from now goes up on my birthday. I think.
Yeah,
that might be right. April 8th.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have
I'm glad you said that.
We're gonna have a birthday podcast.
It was coming up, and I couldn't remember the day. I'm being honest. So.
We're gonna have a birthday podcast. We're gonna have to. Well, we'll record that at the normal time.
Happy St. Patty's Day, by the way, mofos.
Oh yeah, St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, a reason to get drunk. You're flabbergasted.
Another one. I'm gonna work.
St. Patty's Day. Yeah, I'm going back up to Quigley's. Fucking work all weekend. It's gonna be nuts. So fucking crazy there on 4th of July, or not 4th of July.
4th of July.
Idiot.
On Cinco de Mayo. So I ran through all my topics. I thought I had stuff. There was that shooting, but I almost don't even want to talk about that. It's sad.
I don't even like giving credence to the shooters.
That's what I mean. Like, fuck that guy.
My week has been shitty, so it messed up my psyche. Now I'm sitting here with my best friend Tosa, wondering what to spit into these Mikeys. I don't know what to do, my friend.
Get a little taste of like Creed in there or something. Is it Creed?
Creed.
Who sings that? Creed. Who sings that? Yeah, that's it. With arms wide open.
That's a good song, actually, though.
I don't know. GoodNoteStore.com. 20% off everything for a week. Use code SPRING because it's springtime. Get your tie-dye shirts or anything else. GoodNoteStore.com. Are you the type of person that could set one alarm?
I can. Do I? No.
I normally have like 7.
Yeah, they all wake me up, but I just always have 3.
I think I have 6 every day, from 7 to 8 o'clock.
I used to be a one-alarm guy. It's way easier. Just roll out of bed and be uncomfortable, but...
And I generally put my phone on the dresser there, so I have to get up to turn it off.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll still end up waking up, and all my alarms are off, but I'll still be up at, it's like 7:45. I just, I'll shut all my alarms off when the first one goes off in my sleep somehow. It's maddening. I don't know how I do it, and I don't remember doing it.
You subconsciously know you don't want to wake up.
It'd be a lot cooler if I didn't have to sleep.
Yeah. Did we talk about that?
I don't know, but man,
there's some animals that hardly have to sleep, and it's weird. So go back into sleep. So fucking like dolphins, they can do this thing. Some birds can do it too, where it's like they can shut half their brain, will go into complete deep dream state, and then half their brain remains completely awake. So they'll be fishing, swimming, getting food, doing their normal thing, but half of their brain is completely asleep.
Man. I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, we can't really.
I know.
But people who smoke meth seem to have a lot of luck with staying awake for a long time. That's apparently one of the hardest drugs to quit once you're super addicted because of the chemical effect it has on your brain. The kind of paranoia that it naturally induces makes it so you never it makes it even harder than other drugs that, like, so, like, opiate withdrawals, a lot of it, like, you want to go back on it because you feel miserable. You know what I mean? When you don't take your drugs or whatever. Like, your body, like, you go in the shakes and you feel like there's bugs in your skin and you sweat, you know what I mean? That's not all that happens with meth, though. You feel that, but then it's like, you also apparently come with this, like, extreme paranoia and fear of people.
Hallucinations, but
even more than that, it's just, like, this extreme paranoia that you're a tweaker. I mean, you met tweakers. They're fucking nuts.
Tweak from South Park?
They think everybody's out to get them.
The cool part about the podcast is maybe this one will be the one where I finally get my 40-minute podcast. Because that's how long I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll be 60-something minutes on Spotify.
Right.
I fucking hate Spotify.
They still haven't helped you?
Dude, you should see the emails back and forth. No, they'll answer me. And then I was told yesterday that another team has been invited into the investigation of what's going on. So you telling me you got 2 teams working on this at Spotify?
They hired the
for
people
2 weeks.
That work at Taco Bell.
They're the people at Taco Bell that put their balls on the food.
I feel like any good coder could figure that problem out.
I said in an email, it's got to be something simple. And I was like, and I know we don't pull 1 million views, but like this is something I need to get fixed.
Right.
It's like making it clear.
Did you say like if this was a JRE or something, it'd be done in 2 seconds?
That was pretty much my point when I was like, I know we don't pull fucking millions of views to the point that you guys would care, but I really need to get this fixed. And then my last email to him was like midday today, and I was just like, you got any updates? And I still haven't heard anything back, so they're awful to deal with.
Send you a picture of their butthole. There's an update for you.
I can't imagine that with the customer service I've had with them.
God.
You know what the best part of the whole thing is? 51% of the people listen to it on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah. So shout out Spotify, gang, where you're listening to it and it's all wrong, but
it's Spotify's fault that it's edited together to make it sound extra.
Well, it's not even edited together because like
it sounds like
I edit it together the way it sounds on every other platform, you know,
which is
normal.
Good.
And then what I want is people to listen to it on our website, but you can't download it there, and people like to download it and listen to it on the go. Okay, I mean, that's what I do.
Make it so you can download it.
Not on there, not because it's a HTML.
I would say I think I owe an apology to someone after last week's episode, and that would be Ben Affleck, because I watched a movie with him in it this week. And as I said before, you're a good actor.
He actually DM'd me, and he's like, "What the fuck is that damn kid saying about me?"
He's a real good actor, for real. He's just not a good Batman.
I don't think there is a good Batman.
Christian Bale, motherfucker. Man, all right. If you were on death row, what would be your last meal?
Chicken fingers.
And poontang.
I've had this computer for like 4 years. I got like out of a terabyte, and then I have another 120 gig solid state drive along with that, and they're both almost full.
You can get another terabyte thing pretty cheap now.
Yeah, but then I gotta put it in the computer.
Get an external one. Just plug it into USB.
I'm running out of USBs. I got a counter argument for everything.
Get one of those splitters.
Go fuck yourself.
Counter argument to your counter arguments.
You could fuck one of the Jonas Brothers.
Right, back to this.
I found out the third one's name.
What is it?
Kevin.
Kevin?
Isn't that just off?
Yeah, he doesn't sound like he's the one you want to fuck.
Joe, Nick, Kevin.
I don't know, it just makes me think of Kevin from The Office.
I was going to say, it makes me think of Kevin Malone.
Is it Kevin Malone? Wouldn't that be great if it was like 2 normal-looking Jonases and then Kevin Malone? I don't know what a normal-looking Jonas looks like. What you picture him as, boy band members, but then the back one looks like Kevin Malone. And on the drums, Kevin Jonas. Hyphen Malone.
Why do long drum when short drum do trick? That's Dallas, baby.
That's Dallas, baby.
Oh, man. This is a news topic for me. Did you see the Model Y? The new Tesla?
No.
Oh, my goodness. And there's a model, there's Model S, 3,
Why
X.
Are we talking about? No.
S, 3, X, and Y. Spelled out sexy. No, but the Model Y is like
I like that.
Like a little bit smaller, more affordable version of the Model X. It's like mid-size SUV.
I got you.
0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. Amazing panoramic view. Oh, I need this car. And it's like 50, 60 grand.
A car right now.
50, 60 grand. Tesla. Drives itself. 300 miles on a charge.
You said it's like 50, 60 grand. Like either of us have 50 or 60 grand.
That comes out to like, you can probably do that like maybe 6, 7, 800 a month if you put like 5,000 down.
Yeah, I don't need to add 800 a month to my anything right now.
For a Tesla, though?
Save your money till you got it, bruh.
You know how long I've wanted a Tesla? Only like 2 years, but...
Basically my whole life.
Basically my entire existence. No, I really want a Lamborghini, but that's definitely out of the pay grade right now.
I think it's just easy to be like, man, what am I doing with my life? You know? It's easy to sit there and ask that.
I still ask that. And I know what I'm doing.
Ask that. I think people who are successful in our eyes ask that. Because you can't put your... Like, if you put what's going to make you happy, like that thing you're looking for, as, or what you want to be, what car you want, Tesla, Tulsa, yes, or whatever, you know, whatever that thing is that you view as success, if that is what you think is going to make you happy, then you're going to find when you get there that you're just as miserable as you've always been, but now you have something.
You know me. You could imagine the cheese on the giant cheese and smile I'd have on my face sitting in a Tesla.
But I'm saying that cheese and smile works the same way that drugs work. They've studied it with the brain. It works. It's why people who are addicted to buying shit, like people get addicted to shopping like drugs, because there's a dopamine and serotonin release and uptake with buying something.
Oh yeah, buying stuff's fun.
It activates stuff in your reward center. It's just like a drug, but that high you come down from right away. So you find out that it's not actually the thing that you even really wanted. It was the feeling of buying something that you think is going to give you social prestige, or is viewed as nice, or you think you should have.
I disagree, because that's, I mean, on certain things, and that's your take on it. But like, of course, money doesn't buy happiness. But like, when I got a Tesla, or when I get a Tesla,
there's not a lot of people frowning
it's
on
more,
runners, though, like
it's more like a, like I did it because I've wanted it for so long.
No, yeah,
it's gonna be like an achievement for me.
No, I'm just saying though, if you view like, which I don't think you do, but I think it's easy in our society, and some people fall victim to it, is like this viewing of like, well, once I'm a CEO, or once I am, you know, the manager, or you know, the district manager, or what, you know, whatever that thing is. Once I have a big house, you know, once I have a mansion, or once I have 3 cars, once I have a boat and this, or you know, once I have this much money in the bank account, then I'll be happy. You know what I mean? But they realize that once they get to whatever that thing was, that it doesn't make them any happier than they were, because the problem, the root, the seed that grew into their unhappiness has nothing to do with the things outside of themselves. It has to do with their opinion of themselves.
I'm already aware. Like, I know a lot of money isn't going to make me any happier.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm saying in general, yeah. But I'm saying that's an easy for... It's just like this if A, then B thing. It's, you know, if... you can do it without not even applying it to money. It's like, well, if I eat healthier, then I'll be in a better mood, and then my life will improve. It's like, yeah, you will, but it's like just eating healthier is not going to make you love yourself. You know what I mean? Or like people are like, if I lose 10 pounds and I look like this, then I'll be happy because I'll have my self-esteem. It's like, no, the problem there isn't the 10 pounds. The problem there is that you have this issue with how you view yourself. You know what I mean? Or you have this issue with how you view success for people who chase money, or they think that if they get this one thing, it will fix this other thing. But really what they're doing is they're fixing a symptom rather than addressing the actual problem.
Covering a problem temporarily. Yeah,
it's super easy to do in a materialistic world. Like, we all compare ourselves to people. What's the idea of success? The idea of success in the United States, for most people, I think, I can't speak for everyone, but I think for most people, and I mean, you see it on social media, you see it in movies, you see it on TV, is not even being like comfortable financially. It's being this idea of wealth that is so unattainable. Realistically, like, I mean, if you think about the top, it's not even the top 1%. Like, most people don't realize
the top 1% isn't as crazy out of reach.
It's like 400,000 and up. You make a couple $100,000, you're in the top 1%. But people are making, you know, $500,000 or $1 million a year don't view themselves as having made it, because you're comparing yourself. Who are you comparing yourself to? You're comparing yourself to these images that rappers or movie stars portray, or, you know, Jerry Jones or whoever who buys a fucking 127-foot yacht or whatever the hell. It's like, those numbers are so unattainable. That's so unrealistic that if you think that what is going to make you happy is being an icon, being a Don, you know, major key, you know what I mean? Like, if you think that what is going to make you happy is being famous and rich, you know what I mean? It's like you're going to find out that you're going to get there and overdose on heroin. You're going to pull a few Philip Seymour Hoffman or something, because that's not what makes you fucking happy.
I think if I was famous, it'd probably drive me nuts. Like, famous to the point where, like, you can't leave your house, you know? I'd go insane.
I think it'd be really cool for, like, 2 days.
Yeah.
Very few people even reach that level of fame, though. You know what I mean? That, like,
there's certain levels. There's, like, that level that, like, that no one can touch, like Michael Jackson, Elvis, the Beatles. Like, that shit's untouchable.
Mike Tyson, and then there's, like, Muhammad Ali.
Eminem, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, like, presidents.
There's certain people, Tiger Woods, Obama, that level, shit, presidents, yeah, there's... But I mean, like, your average, even very successful actress or actor
I'm talking about people that every single person on the planet knows.
Yeah, but I'm saying that though is so rare.
Yeah.
Like, that level of fame.
There's literally probably, like, maybe 10, 20 people.
Yeah, it's so rare. I mean, I guarantee you if Bill Gates was in Walmart, half the people in Walmart would not know that Bill Gates
I'd probably have to take a couple double takes because he just looks like a regular-ass dude, you know what I mean? Wonder if there's an opposite.
Yeah, people who go into the woods and don't want to be around anybody. Oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can get down on that.
That's I go so 50-50. Like, sometimes I'll be so down for that, and sometimes I'm like, I'm such a social person.
I mean, wait, could I, like, still go out and talk to people occasionally? Because, like, I need to get a little bit of social in.
Well, it's weird because it's so easy to say yeah, but you know how many people lose their mind in solitary confinement? Like, there's a reason solitary confinement is a you know, it's like the worst punishment. Is like, there's people who'd rather be tortured than just left alone for 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, in a box.
A lot of people don't do good alone.
I don't know. It'd be hard to be... You would lose your mind eventually. But there's... At the same time, I don't know how much...
lost it.
I never have felt more at peace than when I'm, like... Because I've done a lot of the national parks and hikes and stuff, you know what I mean? But when I'm, like... When you're somewhere and you look around and you can't see a single fucking soul, and, you know, like, when me and Nate were in fucking Yellowstone, we had that campsite, and at Yellowstone, like, you have to pick out your campsites. You have to go to you meet with the rangers, right? And you mark your campsite, and so they're spread out. They're a couple miles apart, and you have to stay at your assigned camping spot.
Where's Yellowstone?
It's in Wyoming and Montana, Idaho area. Montana and Wyoming, really. But so we marched, like, where we're camping. We know there's no one within 2 miles, you know, at least of us. But outside of the people who are camping, you know, so there might be like 3 or 4 people within a 7-8 mile circle of us. You know what I mean? But outside of that, there wasn't people within, you know, 10, 15 miles of those people. We were way fucking out there. And that's just, that's when you feel that energy that we're talking about. Like, you feel how alive and how one the world is, how connected you are to everything. And you so lose that. Like, you're in Chicago or pick any city. There's just the energy there. You lose some kind of connection. There's something that is tangibly gained from being around the dirt, the earth, the tree, you know, animals. Like, there's something you can feel in your body that is, it's beneficial to you, health-wise, like, both physiologically and mentally. It is good for you to be around nature. Like, you can feel it. You go out in the woods, you're by yourself, and you come back and you feel refreshed, and you feel centered, and you feel peaceful. Back when I was
actually going to the gym, I would occasionally, almost every day, stop at the park until it got too cold. Stop at the park and, like, walk, like, the whole trail there. Maybe do a little bit of jogging.
Love it.
And it's just, it's refreshing to run outside, not on a treadmill inside. You know what I mean?
I don't really run, but I love hiking. I'm not a good runner. We talked about that.
I haven't ran in a long time.
Last week we were talking about how good I'd worked out 2 out of 3 days.
6 months.
And I haven't worked out since, so...
I just stick with the boxing, dude. The boxing cardio is insane.
Yeah, boxing's tough. Boxing's super tough.
That goes back to one of my paranormal experiences. I don't know.
Ghost
it could be the wind. No, I was getting beat up by ghosts, though. But the punching bag, I was laying down, and I kind of looked back, and it was just swinging like this. And then I didn't think anything of it, and I went back, and I was like, the dog's tail probably hit it. And I looked back, and the dog's, like, over here sleeping. And then the cat's on the bed. And I was like, why is that punching bag moving so, like sometimes it'll have that slow, but it was like this.
You ever seen pendulums?
It was kind of like that. And I was like, why is this happening? And then I kind of just, like, brushed it off as being wind from the little storm tunnel there.
What's your middle name?
Don't worry about it.
Eugene. Pelvis. What is your middle name?
Elvis.
That'd be bad.
Stone Cold.
What do we want to talk about now?
That's all, folks. Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know what you should talk about.
Did you just throw up a little bit?
That was kind of a wet burp.
Look at it. Look. Goddamn cat drinking milk out the bowl.
You know, China, their policy where they do that social rating system. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, when you do good things, like your rating goes up.
Not just good things. They track everything you do.
See, that's your a little communication. Sketchy.
So the idea is it would get to the point where it's like when you walk in places and like they know it's you, like you're visually tracked through video everywhere and audio, so they know how you interact with people, the purchases you make, how you work, how efficient you are, how nice you are, how you act online. And then you get a social compatibility score and everyone's ranked on everything they possibly do. And then that tells you about people. That's fucking bullshit. Have you ever seen Black Mirror? They have an episode where it's like that and it becomes this just giant jockeying social position and it's unhealthy. But the comparison game, you see with money. So going back to that money 1% thing, it's like no matter how much you make, I mean, given there is someone who is at the very bottom and the very top of every spectrum. You know what I mean? But like, so say you make, like right now, we make dog shit. You know what I mean? So if we started making $70,000 a year, which to a lot of people is nothing, but to a lot of people is a lot.
I mean, to the majority, that is a lot.
But how great would you feel, though, if you had $7,000 a year right now?
Be an upgrade for sure.
But you know what happens the second you start making $70,000 a year?
You want more.
You're no longer comparing yourself to where you were before that. So say you made $30,000.
You're like, what's that guy doing that's making $140 a year?
You don't look at how good things are compared. I mean, that's not everyone. You can't speak for everyone because there is people who do look at it that way. But I think it's easy for people in general, especially in a society where it's just like the Facebook comparison and you know what I mean. You're showing how great your life is all the time. That you, rather than look back at what you did have and how great things are.
I compare my business to other businesses.
You compare yourself to the guy who makes $140,000, and then so say there's an actual theory. I can't remember. It's like the social comparison. I can't remember. It's like what the fucking theory is called. But once you make $140,000, you compare yourself to somebody who makes $250,000. You know what I mean? And it goes up, and it works with the way you move too. Because say you live in this house now. Like this is a nice house, but as soon as you make more money, this house is no longer nice to you because you have the money to afford a nicer place, right? So you move into a nicer house because you can now afford it.
I mean, it's hard to say now.
So it'd be so depressing sometimes, but I love the idea of like getting an old van, not an old van, but like an old work van or something, and making the back into like putting a bed back there and a little burner and a little sink that you just cycle water
and traveling
and living in the fucking van.
See, I wouldn't be comfortable living with it, but I had this idea before, like kind of the same concept. Throw a couch, maybe somehow like hook up a TV. And then just stack it with merch, and then like me and like 2 people just travel to 48 states that we can drive to, and just I'm gonna stay in hotels when we stop, but like try not to stop.
No, that's the whole point of having a van, dude.
But if you got like 3 dudes and a van full of merch and 1 couch, because I wanted to go and just sell stuff.
Well, the idea is you don't have 3 dudes with you. The idea is the van's yours.
I just want to sell stuff.
You want a girl with you.
I just want to sell.
I get that, but I'm saying. The idea of having a van with a bed is so you don't have to stay in hotel rooms, guy.
It's not a bed. I'm going to have a couch for comfort while we're driving to go sell stuff.
Oh, so you're just going for like a lounging area where people can get stoned, like the Scooby-Doo van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mystery machine.
It's like your dare teacher when you were younger. He's like, people are going to offer you free drugs all the time. It's like, where are these people offering me to you? Where? You know what I mean? It's like,
that was a hell of a concern, wasn't it? Yes. That was never a concern when I grew up.
Right.
Let me read this comment to you. He said, "Sorry, cat, but your colors are super muddy." He called me cat. I don't like that. That's just for starters.
Cat.
I applaud the effort, but you really need to take a look at the color wheel and understand how it works. And what opposing colors do when they come in contact with each other. I looked at a lot of your tie-dyes, and they all seem to suffer from the same problem. It's great to have 30 colors available, but I would rethink trying to use every one on every dye project. This guy didn't look hard enough because I do a lot of monocolors. Yeah. And I have a color wheel on my fucking table.
When I was younger, my mom used to make me go on these mission trips. Not make me. Well, yeah, make me. I wasn't that good of a kid. All right. So we'd go on these mission trips to Petersburg, which is just outside of Springfield. And I remember we'd all split into groups, so there's a shit ton of kids there. But my group, we got sent to the St. John's bread line in Springfield for a week. The lady comes out and talks to us and says, we're going to get jobs in a second, but she brings out the janitor first. And he's this old black guy. He's got a mop in his hand. He's like, I need one of you, to help me all fucking day. No one wants to help the janitor, dude. Like, all right, I can chop veggies or I can clean the shitter. Like, which one am I going to pick, And you remember me when I was younger. I was like just the same height. I was like 2 inches shorter than I am now, but like fat as hell.
I met you like senior year of high school.
Yeah. Really? Well, when I was young, because
we met at parties.
Huge for a little kid, right?
I guess.
And so I was trying to hide. Yeah, I was like, I'm not letting this janitor pick me. So you picture this 210-pound fucking sixth grader in the back. I'm trying to hide. Like, no way. You know what I mean? He picks me, obviously. He's like, this dude, he's strong. He can do everything. Like, fat kid. Like, he's doing it all. I was pissed as hell. Like, I was a little shit, dude. So I wouldn't talk to him. He kept trying to talk to me, and I was just like, fucking, gritting my teeth, like, fuck this shit. As I'm mopping, just pissed off, like, whatever he's telling me to do.
Yeah, the kids are making food.
And, like, halfway through the day, we just start going back and forth, just talking about whatever, and he ended up just being the most amazing dude. Had the worst life. But he had such a positive outlook on life. And he told me about, he used to be a pretty successful guy. Pretty much, like, he was trying to tell me how he became homeless, asking me, how'd you get to this situation? He told me, well, he was a heroin addict. He was a big heroin addict, and ended up losing his house. And he said, but before that happened, he said, I was married, and we had 2 kids. They were both, they were great kids. I think he said he lived in Chicago at the time. I don't remember the exact details. I was young. He had 2 kids. His kids were both bright. So they were good. They were good students. They were in high school, I think, or college. I don't know. And he's married. He'd been happily married for years. You know what I mean? His wife ended up getting brain cancer. So she got brain cancer and she passed away. Within a couple weeks of his wife getting brain cancer and pass away, his 2 sons were together and both got killed in a drive-by shooting that was meant for someone else.
Oh my God.
So within a couple weeks, this man lost all 3 of his completely stable and successful family. All the other 3 members, gone. You know how easy it would be to turn to heroin or, turn to whatever would make you feel numb. Whatever would make you escape. Like, can you imagine the low that you'd feel, the pain that you would feel from losing your two children and your wife? And so he turned to drugs and he lost everything. He spent all of his money. He said he ended up, selling all of his shit, lost his house, he ended up being homeless, had been homeless and doing drugs off and on for years. And he said he'd been clean for years after this, but he said one day he just, realized how low he was. And he worked his way back up and he got a job as the janitor at the St. John's bread line. That place, he'd moved to Springfield by that time and he was homeless in Springfield and he ended up working there and mopping. And then now he worked and he was working his way back. But he's telling me, like, the biggest thing you have to understand to keep yourself going in the right direction or to keep yourself from allowing those bad things in your life to push you over that edge, you know what I mean? Or allow you to go down that dark path that is there for all of us. Any one of us has the potential, like we talked about before, to do awful things, you know what I mean? Or become an addict, you know what I mean? Or fall victim, you know what I mean? It's like any one of us could become that person. But he said it's so easy if you allow yourself to look at the big things that come up in your life, the bad things, is like, holy shit, like, this is the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like, I wrecked my car, like, what I was feeling, like, just want to feel sorry for myself this weekend. Is like, well, the world's out to get me, you know what I mean? Like, this is shitty, and people view it as, like, that's it. Like, I was on my journey, I was on the road, and, like, I just hit a roadblock. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, fucked me. Like, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? They're done, and they get so caught up in that's out to get that they forget that shit always happens. You know what I mean? Nothing ever goes as planned, because can you imagine how boring your life would be if everything went as how you thought it was going to be?
Gotta have the downs to enjoy the ups even more.
Things always work out. They might not work out how you want to, but they always work out. And there's something to take from it. I think everything happens for a reason is a bullshit. It's like that.
When you have those days, though, where everything is on point, how great is that, though?
It's great. Is that? But when something bad happens, the way you have to look at it, this guy said, he said, you have to look at it as it's just a speed bump. All you're hitting is something that slows you down, and it jars you, and it's going to shake you up a little bit, and you it changes what you were doing, at least how fast you were going, the direction you were going in your life, whatever, because you have to prepare. You hit that bump, you hit it. But it's not a roadblock. It doesn't stop you. He says you're going to hit a lot more of those bumps. You're going to hit a shit ton of them, but you can't look at it as something that stops you. You can't look at it as something that's the block in your path. It's just a fucking bump. And he said that's what he allowed it to look at. Is like, I lost my wife and my 2 kids, and that was it. That was the end of the world. Well, for me, that would have been I would have just been done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was able to look at that and say, that's not, the end of the world. That's just a bump in the road after, living under a bridge for years. But now turned his life around, and now he's helping other homeless people get off on their feet. You know what I mean? And he taught me so much. That little thing stuck with me forever. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was probably 10 or 12 at the time. A weird little fact about him, though. You know what his goal was? He told me, I'm going to live to be the oldest man in the world. And you know what the number he said he was going to live to? 176. I'll never forget that either. He said, I'm going to be 176. You just remember that. And I was like, he's like, you remember me. He's like, read about me one day. 176, oldest man dies. I'm like, no fucking way you're not. But then it's like,
I'm also not going to live that long.
This is an eccentric guy, but he was awesome. Yeah, right? You're going to outlive me then, Lonnie. Real quick, pop up a couple jokes. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
An owl.
An owl who? I don't care. I don't care at all. One bit of what you're going to say.
I don't even know where it's going. It's just owls say who.
Oh.
That was a bad one. I got a bad joke for you.
You see how thrilled I am?
I don't even have one yet. I'm trying to think of one. The best part about bad jokes is they're easy to think of. Because just like try to come up with a joke and it's going to be a bad one.
I can't even think of any when I try to.
You know what your beard looks like?
Shit.
See, that was a bad joke. They're easy to come up with. What is this? It said Jeff Bridges on Only the Brave. If you're looking for sympathy, the only place you're going to find it is in the dictionary somewhere between shit and syphilis. That's funny.
Check us out on...
All right, now
check us out on Google Play, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Even though I don't like them. Why are you interrupting my mojo?
Because you can't start halfway through my making purring noises. I don't want
then don't make purring noises.
So let me stop.
Is it my? Can I talk now? Listen on Stitcher, Apple Podcast, Google Play, Spotify. Even though I don't like them, YouTube.
Excuse me.
GoodNotesTore.com/podcast.
Look forward to it. We're gonna have some crazy St. Patty's Day stories for you next week.
I'm not.
Join us. Okay, let's do it. Let's get out of here. Let's do the closure. I'm done with this. No, we're doing a real one.
Post.
This is the real one.
No, I already named off all the stuff. I can edit.
Name it again.
Nicely.
Name it again.
Insightful Hypocrites.
I'm gonna teabag your computer if you don't name it again.
You wouldn't dare.
No, I know. All right, so here's the real goodbye.
Insightful Podcast. God damn it.
Yeah, redo it. Well, it can't all be good. That's all I gotta say.
Why would it take this long to be funny? Alright, fuck this.
Well, that's it.
Life has been so hectic.
That's a wrap. Been a crazy week.
Later.
Be better next week. Drink more water.